Welcome as we call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Jenks City Council. Today is the 3rd of August of 2021. It is Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. The time is 6:01 p.m. I'm joined by my council members here. We apparently do have a quorum, so we will be conducting business for the city of Jenks this evening. Mr. Chris Shroud is joining us. He's our city manager. This is Mr. Brandon Macy, our city clerk, and he will verify our attendance.
Caitlin?
Here.
Isabel?
Here.
Murray?
Here.
Klein? Present. Short?
Here.
OJ?
Here.
Airbox.
Here, we're called to order at 6:01 p.m. Right now, we are joined by Pastor Wagner. He's going to lead us in our prayer and our invocation. Pastor Wagner is somewhat retired from ministry. I guess you could say he's a free agent. So is that the best way to describe you? Prayers on demand. Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence tonight, sir.
Let's bow together for prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and Father, we thank you for every good and perfect gift that comes from above. Lord, tonight we pray for the leaders of our nation, our state, and especially the leaders here in the council room with these leaders from Jenks. I pray, Lord, that you would give them wisdom tonight as they address the issues of the day. I pray for the men and women who live here in Jenks, that your hand of blessing on each one. And I pray, Lord, that you would meet every need in our city. And we'll give you the praise and the glory for it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. And please remain standing as we pledge allegiance to our United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this particular point of the proceedings, it's called Citizens' Comments. If you are here tonight and you would like to address the council with anything that's on your mind, anything that is not on tonight's agenda, something outside of our agenda topics, we would welcome you. Just come forward, give us your name, address, and then when you're done, we'll give you the hook. Anybody? Going once? Not even John, huh, Sarah? Okay, he's the quiet one. Very well. Okay, great. No citizens come. Oh, yes, sir. Please come forward.
Couple issues.
Yeah, come on. Just a couple.
Yeah.
You're in good shape.
I might mention. Bring to.
Just give us your name and address. And
My name's Chris. I live at 109 East F Street.
I'm sorry, Chris, what was your last name?
Ashlock.
Any chance you mind spelling that for us?
ASHLOCK.
Okay, thank you, sir. And that address?
109 East F Street.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Is there any way that I could talk to you guys about speed bumps or some kind of extra police patrol on F Street or around the ball fields track? Just concerned about somebody getting run over. Training, running, just kids playing. Every day I watch dozens of cars running stop signs, dozens. And I don't know if the speed bumps will correct the issue, because I think they'll just pass by and go through the school parking lot. I call in all the time. I get tag numbers. I almost got run over walking my dog the other day. Me and another girl jumped in the ditch. Car sped off, pulled in the parking lot, got tag numbers, turned them in. They drove by a couple times. Didn't really, I even gave a description of the people driving the car. Didn't get anything done. You know, there's trying to help out on the watching activity and stuff, you know. That's about pretty much it. I have a drainage issue. I turned it in. I've currently started pulling water across the street into the drainage for the school. I don't know if that's being taken care of or not. I've noticed a couple of people come out, engineering's come out. I've talked to them over drainage, and I haven't really heard from anybody. So that's one of my concerns.
Absolutely. Can we get your phone number, Mr. Ashlot?
932-9584.
Okay.
And three of our houses, and from Second west of the stop sign on the north side of the street, we're getting about 3 foot of water in our ditch. And I'm at the lowest point, and I'm getting 8 feet in on the floor. I'm getting water inside my garage. I've had to tear out sheetrock. I've got damages, I'm dealing with it the best I can. Like I said, I put a pump in, I run hose across the street, and doing the best I can. Best I can. So let me know best you can. So
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Will do, sir. Thank you very much. And any chance we're familiar with this?
Are the drivers that you're seeing, are they all ages, or is it
They're all-
school age drivers?
Yes, they're all different ages. And it's not all student. It's not, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
During school, that's a big part of it, but that's understandable.
I was wondering which route.
People in the neighborhoods,
Okay.
and when I have talked to officers that have actually came out, I give descriptions. It's always the same ones, and kind of get the same answer.
The same vehicle.
Hold on.
Yeah, the same part.
Hey, we can't engage our citizens during citizens comments, guys. It's a one-way communication. So let's just remember that. Yeah, that's fine. I'll tell you what, sir.
I'm sorry about
No, that's all right. It's not you at all. So we have your number. I don't know that we're completely familiar with I don't know that I'm familiar with the intersection, but we'll make sure that we get a hold of you and see if we can address the safety issue first and then figure out the drainage thing. I was going to give you my card and
And I do understand the laws are really tough.
yeah.
In the way that they're written, it really makes it hard to respond on certain things. So
Tell you what, let's go ahead and Greg, would you mind?
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
just the speeding and the running stop signs, I'm worried about the students, more than anything in the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main.
Councilor Murray here is our chair of our public safety committee. He's a retired police officer, so we can help you there. And I'm sure somebody, if you've already been engaged with our engineering staff on the drainage issue, then it wouldn't be too hard to get that conversation spun up again, whoever it was.
Made a lot of phone calls and tried to reach out to a lot of people. And the people that I have talked to, it's been real slow, and I understand that. I worked for the city of Tulsa at one period of time, and I do understand you gotta go through every step. And I talked to the school as well and made sure that it was okay to pump my water to their storage retaining areas. So
Sure.
so it's okay, but there's the insured, right? Yeah, you guys first on. So,
If you do get a hold of Councilor Murray, just remind him that I can help you as well. We'll make sure that you get your issues at least addressed quickly. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Ashley.
Appreciate you coming.
Have a good evening, sir. Anyone else? Any other citizens' comments? Very well. Get down to business then. Item number one on the agenda this evening is the consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted in one motion. Any councilor may, however, remove an item from the consent agenda by request. A motion to adopt the consent agenda is non-debatable. Is there a motion to consider tonight's consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a proper motion and a second on the consent agenda. Item number one, let's vote, please.
Kaylin,
Yes.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes. Item two is pulled. Item number three, we have an opportunity tonight to appoint 2 new members to the Board of Adjustment for a term ending on May 31st, 2024. On page 74, if you're following along in your packet, and we're going to be joined by Mrs. Marseille Hilton. Good evening, Mrs. Hilton.
Thank you, Mayor Box. council and staff, we have 2 positions available for appointment to the Board of Adjustment. The Board of Adjustment is a quasi judicial board, which just means that their decisions are final. And if you came to the Board of Adjustment for a variance or a special exception or something like that, then once they make their decision, that applicant, if they denied it, that applicant would have to appeal to district court. So it is apolitical. There should not be politics involved. I will say that regarding my planning commission and Board of Adjustment, I plan to be setting up some training sessions and just letting them know what's expected and what the rules are and what my expectations are for them, and give them the opportunity to ask questions. There are 2 candidates. We will take them by separate vote. So their candidate number 1, appointment to the Board of Adjustment, Mr. Spencer Pittman. So Mr. Spencer Pittman, I'm struggling. Is someone that I do know personally. I worked with him in the city of Bixby. He served on the Board of Adjustment at the city of Bixby, and he later served on the planning commission. He is here this evening with his family. He is an attorney, and I spoke to the mayor about recommending him for this position, and that would be our first candidate. I did provide you with his resume. Let's do that if you need to. And if you have any questions, he is available for questions.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Hilton. Does anyone on council have any questions or would like to meet Mr. Spencer Pittman? If so, we will call him forward and you can walk the gauntlet.
Mr. Pittman, would you please come forward and tell us a little bit about yourself? Thank you. First of all, welcome.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm Spencer Pittman. I'm joined here with my family. My wife is Julie Pittman. My 2 daughters are Charlotte. She's the 3-year-old, and the little one back there is Violet. We are new to the city of Jenks. We moved here in December, and so far we've absolutely loved it. I appreciate the recommendation from Marseille to serve on the Board of Adjustment. I consider this to be a public service in a way. I know it's a non-compensated position, and I want to be able to continue to provide a voice and to hear the citizens of Jenks to the extent they feel aggrieved, maybe by the zoning process, maybe by the zoning map or the ordinances. But I also consider it a civic duty on behalf of the city of Jenks to provide for the public safety and wellness and the continued beautification of the city as we hear the issues involving the zoning process. Also, I'm a business attorney. I am an attorney with the law firm of Winters and King. I hope that my background in law will be able to provide some direction to the extent any applicants have any issues with interpretations of the text. Sometimes that's one of the issues that can be brought before the Board of Adjustment. Hopefully that will be a service that I can provide. I can't provide legal advice to the board, but hopefully that's something that will be beneficial.
Great. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. Vice Mayor Roger.
So when did you move to Jenks?
In December.
In December this last year?
Yes.
Okay, so are you familiar with the Horizon Jenks for the reevaluation of the whole zoning and all of that?
Yeah, so when I was also serving in the city of Bixby, I also served on the long-term planning committee to help to revitalize and amend the long-term comprehensive plan. So I understand that Horizon is doing something similar to put together a new long-term comprehensive plan for the city, if I'm not mistaken. My understanding is the Board of Adjustment would also be looking about the zoning map ordinances of text to try and reconcile that with that long-term comprehensive plan to make sure that they are in harmony.
Do you see anything in there that you would do different?
I'm sorry, in the
In the comprehensive plan for Jenks Horizon?
My understanding is that the Horizon documents are still not complete yet. So I haven't had an opportunity to fully evaluate or process the contents. I look forward to getting that opportunity. And if I do, I will definitely provide my comments to, I actually believe you are my council member. But if I do have any other comments, I'll also provide them to Marcia as well.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Good questions. Any other questions for our applicant, Mr. Pittman? Great. Well, just as another topic, since you're new to Jenks, there's an opportunity coming up, and the gentleman sitting right behind you in the blue jacket, he's the Chamber of Commerce, our director of the Chamber of Commerce, and I don't know the exact date, but we have a Leadership Jenks Academy is a program where our citizens can apply to be part of it. How many months does it take, Josh? 9 months to get through the program? It's about 8 hours a day for 9 months.
It is not. It is not.
No. It's a great program. I've been through. I know Councilor Short. I'm sure the Vice Mayor, almost everybody I think has been through the program. But it's one night a month for 9 months. It's a pretty good opportunity for you to get a better feel for what's going on here in Jenks, and so I'd encourage you to if you find an opportunity to apply for that. If it's not too late, that might be a good way to welcome you to Jenks. And the comprehensive plan, there's a pocket version we'd like you to carry around in your pocket at all times. Because are you willing to do that? Okay, we're gonna ask her to do the same thing. Hey, it's a short night. We got a little bit of fun. Okay, we appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
Would you like me to be?
Well, actually, no, stand right there. Actually, this particular time, we're going to go ahead and, if there's no more comments, we're going to go ahead and vote on the appointment for Mr. Pittman. If you agree that Mr. Pittman should be a new member of our Board of Adjustment, simply give us a yes. If you do not, simply give us a no. Let's vote, please.
Do you still need a motion in a second?
You're right. We actually do need a motion for the appointment of Mr. Pittman, and we need a second, and then we can do yeses and nos. We have a proper motion and a proper second. Let's vote, please.
Kayla?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
Ogier?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you want, it's a big deal. You can have a picture with the young lady right there if you'd like.
Yeah, a picture with the mayor if he wants to.
Huh?
Come on.
Oh.
Have the attorney do it.
Yeah. You're just.
How about you two first?
Photo bomber.
All right. Do I get a picture with the people? Get out of the way.
Small.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Apologize.
Mrs. Hilton. One more?
The second candidate reached out to the city when we had a planning commission position come open many months ago, and I held on to the resume. It is from Ms. Sarah Foley. She worked for the city of Jenks for several years and has experience in real estate, and within the city she had experience as in inspections and planning department. I have never worked with her personally, and we don't have a personal relationship, but if you have any questions, she is also here and able to answer questions.
Any questions from council from Ms. Foley?
Come on down.
Let the record reflect that I was not the one to drag you up here. Mr. Isbell.
I'm gonna need your name and acknowledge. First question, I've known you for several years, and you're very passionate and direct. And I did receive some calls from some citizens that were concerned. And I like a direct person. I don't want people to be around the bush or anything like that. And some of the concerns were that you were a little too direct in your communication. And I was concerned with respect to the requirements for this position. Actions and conduct on becoming a public official of the city of Jenks. You've been around long enough, you know how to conduct yourself. How would you communicate to people in the position after being appointed?
I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what you're referring to. Because I mean, I think even Chris Scott has seen my responses to the public over the years, even when I was employed. And I don't feel that I ever misrepresented anything.
So misrepresented the city or?
No, I was
Okay.
always honest with my responses.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, I received a couple of comments that you might have been a little too direct to some citizens in the city of Jenks. I could read some of the writings, but I don't have permission from the individuals. But it is on social media where you've confronted several people in the neighborhood website, Facebook site, and some other sites as well. But
With the honest truth.
with the honest truth. Okay.
I think it would be fair to say that Ms. Foley's rapport with citizens as a member of the city is completely different than her responses as a citizen. I think we all have our citizen life and we all have our life as a former city employee. And I think she's done a pretty good job of keeping the two separate. So I don't think she'd be up here with her former as a nominee from her and staff if she wasn't suited for the position. So, but I appreciate the comments and we thank you for your time.
Well, I agree too that we don't know the whole story, and it may be something that she had no choice in saying to them. And so that created the anger. So there's both sides in all of this.
Oh, absolutely. There are two sides in every conversation. There are.
Reiterating some of what Gary said, that, I understand, and I've done so for a long time too, and we're almost neighbors from our housing conditions. But I think her passion of what she really wants to do and coming back and wanting to be on this board to do things, I think she's really very interested in serving and trying to do something. She's wanted to and reached out for other aspects from this council or from planning commission or just whatever areas that she can help with. And I think she wouldn't be here if she didn't really want to try and do something. And I understand, kind of what the mayor was saying, that, we have our civilian life and we have our personal life and we have our professional life and things. And sometimes they do, unfortunately, cross roads, and we all have to be careful. And I think that from the comments of what you've been made aware of, and I think with her knowledge of that, I would only suspect that things would be good for her and good for the Board of Adjustment.
Just looking out for the city. That's the question. Thank you, sir. Or Ms. Foley.
Thank you both. Appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. It is at this particular point, there's no other comments, we can entertain a motion to appoint Ms. Sarah Foley to the Board of Adjustment. We have a proper motion in a second. Let's go, please.
Caitlin,
Yes.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Short,
Yes.
OJ,
Yes.
Mayor Box.
Yes. You want a picture or you? Yeah. Congratulations to our two new members of the Board of Adjustment. Appreciate your willingness to serve. Okay, where are we? Okay. So that is it for item number 3. Item number 4 is a request by Gibraltar Capital Management Incorporated for a special permit to allow for a fireworks display at the Five Oaks Lodge from 5:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturday, on September 25th of 2021. We're on page 76 in the package. Sergeant Schaus, if not Sergeant Schaus, somebody want to represent this application?
Mayor and all members of council, this is kind of a new way of handling private fireworks displays. Five Oaks has had numerous fireworks displays over the years, and in our code, we had a specific way of approving fireworks displays, which is basically you come in, pay a fee, and if you meet the fire chief's requirements, then basically it's approved. But we've had so many complaints over the last, I guess, year or year and a half about some of these private fireworks displays related to, they may happen at 10 p.m. at night, and the neighbors have, on a Saturday night in September, the neighbors have no idea what's going on. All of a sudden, they're hearing explosions. And so anyways, we've had complaints about these displays at Five Oaks because it's surrounded by residential properties. And so we worked, the fire chief, the city attorney, and the special events committee worked to basically put any private fireworks display through the special event process. And so this did go through the special event process and was recommended by that committee unanimously. But I just thought it would be prudent to at least have this maybe discussion with the council, because I know that it's been a subject of controversy in the past. So that's why I struggled to recommend it, but I would take any questions or comments you may have.
I know that my name is mentioned there because myself and Chief Oakham were contacted last year about this. When it happened, I had kind of forgotten about it, and I started hearing the fireworks go off, and I know in meetings after that, we kind of started getting a few emails about it. I personally don't have an issue with it because it's seldom and far and in between, other than the 4th of July and New Year's. My only concern, and I know we brought it up, is that we definitely need to get out a lot of publicity on it, whether it's on our Facebook or social pages or anything that we can. And also maybe incumbent upon the event coordinator of this to do some stuff on their end. I think as long as we get some information out to people, we forget, but at least we tried to do what we could do from our end, I think.
I think this would be a great education for communication with our citizens. I think the citizens also need to be educated that we've got these pathways, whether it's social media or how our communications group is sensitive to put it out. So I think that we do get calls and emails about this particular one, and we've done a proper communicating across whatever media, and that would give us an opportunity to educate citizens.
And I think, but part of this is it's the responsibility of someone holding the event to notify. It's not the city's responsibility, or we're not incurring expense because someone wants to have an event to make money. And I agree, we'll put something out, but I think that in any special event, it's the responsibility, whether it's a chamber event, whether it's the aquarium run event, any event, it's on the event organizer who wants to have the event to use their own resources to notify if they're going to be disturbing the people around them. So, and that's where, unless I'm missing something, I didn't see where the special event committee had, made it clear that that's the responsibility of Five Oaks to notify their neighbors.
And that may be something incumbent then, like we were speaking about, other than us putting stuff on social media, maybe it needs to be brought back into this, or the contact, say, they put out the stick in the ground signs around the neighborhood and in the intersection to at least have something out a week or two beforehand and say, hey, this Saturday night there will be fireworks or something like that. Maybe that would be good. But that's something else that promoter
Yeah.
or 5 Oaks to do.
And I'm not saying we won't have something on the, on our
Right,
social media,
yeah,
but
I
it's
see what you're
just,
saying. It's
I don't
not
want the
us.
onus to be on the
Sure.
city or us,
To be quite honest with you, that's why I'm kind of in my backyard. I mean, it's just a couple of houses or streets over. And it was a shock to us last year when it all happened. So, and I didn't know what to tell anybody because the fact that, to be honest with you, it wasn't on our website. It wasn't publicized. It wasn't notified to neighbors. We enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was pretty because we could watch it off the patio, but it would be nice if they would be required to do that. The only concern that I have with Chief Ostrom is there are a lot of woods over there, and I know they have a lake right by 5 Oaks, and we're not concerned since we haven't had a whole lot of rain lately. No. Yeah.
Mayor, member council, with any firework permit, we do have the ability to cancel that event depending on what the weather is. If we go into a burn pattern of the city, if the county puts out a burn ban, then those events will be canceled. But at this point, there is nothing planned for that. And just to address the notification, part of the LOC that we send out as the fire department requires, and shows so it was put on, this would be put on by Hands Pyrotechnics. They're responsible per city code to make it in a newspaper, part of city code. So that's where the code is written at this point. So that's.
Can we adjust that at any time in the future to possibly do like next door, Facebook, stuff like that to be included? Because newspaper, because a lot of people don't even read it, to be honest.
As a special defense committee, we did discuss that. I believe Katie will be notifying the Homeowners Association. We discussed.
We did all social media, just more as an alert, there will be a fireworks presentation at this time and place. So that hopefully, we talked about everything from signs with balloons 2 weeks earlier, signs, we talked about all of it and not really knowing what would be the best because some people don't use social media. Other people don't read the paper. So you really have to kind of touch all of it. But I thought a sign on site from them at their gate or at their entrance, at least people driving by will see it. Maybe they can tell their neighbor.
Who's on the special events committee, by the way? I'm guess a few, but.
Yeah, we usually have a representative from Chamber.
Okay.
As well as Public Works is represented on it. Police Department, Fire Department. Like,
is it downtown?
No.
Yeah, downtown is represented.
Yeah, there's a downtown representative.
So outside of social media, because that's always the big rub, is that we overuse social media in a certain demographic and our population doesn't care about next door, Facebook. Don't we have the ability to do that mass text, text SMS push?
Emergency types.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, this could be an emergency to some. If people's dogs are having, I've heard dogs overreacted to the sound. So, we can really take a lot of heat for something like this. So I would even say, unless the special events committee disagrees, and with my suggestion, I don't know if there's any, if we're going to communicate, that a storm's coming, why not communicate, hey, this evening beginning at 5:30.
It's like 10 o'clock though. It's 10 p.m. that they do the fireworks.
Starting at 5:30 p.m. Yeah, I mean,
it's earlier this year.
It's 4.5 hours of boom.
No,
it's 10 minutes.
Like it's when the event is, but the fireworks won't start until.
Oh, okay. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just one show, one time, starting at 10.
Okay, yeah, if that, to send out a text blast one way or the other, that if you're in that area, pay attention to your pets, whatever other concerns people have.
We can look at that. I know there's very specifics on what we can send out to a local test. That's because it does go into people's phones.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, if it's
one they sign up for the alerts, that should be easy, but the other one's mass notifications.
Yeah.
I know the mass notification is a little tricky because if I'm looking at my phone and I get an alert and it says, there's a tornado or something, I pay attention. But if, we get redundant with there's a special event, and people are like, oh, it's just a special event, and they don't pay attention. So I get that, and I understand it. I just think that we can do everything that we can notifying the HOAs in the area. That would be great. because it was such a shocker. You know, we approved it, don't get me wrong. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. But I should have done more due diligence on my part.
Does your committee foresee moving these permit votes back into the consent agenda, or are we going to vote on these going forward, you think?
This is the only one.
Okay. Sorry.
My turn.
Sorry, Kane.
One question is that I have, are these permit, do we have, or do they have to pay money for the permit?
Yeah, I don't know how much it is. It's not much.
This would be not much.
Okay. And then another one is a recommendation that I have. And the recommendation is that they shall prove to the city, be it a picture, be it something, that they have carried forth everything in the contract that they've done. In other words, that's what I'm trying to figure out a way to hold them accountable, to make sure they do this. It may not be on your corner, but it may be something. I'm just trying to come up with a accountability to make sure that, because we say, yes, they're responsible, yes, they are, but we don't have a sentence of accountability to them in the contract.
Okay. Something for the committee to consider as you guys as these evolve. I mean, outside of the 4th of July and the standard holidays, we don't see too many of these every year. A couple, 2, 3, the most. Yeah, if that. Okay. Any other questions or comments from council as it relates to item number 4? Okay, no questions, no comments. I'll entertain a motion to approve item number 4.
Motion.
Second.
We have a proper motion and second for item 4. Let's vote, please.
Kaylin?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Item number 5, resolution number 741, encouraging and incentivizing economic development on 200 South Aquarium Drive. Mrs. Nolan is joining us, and we're on page 87 in our packet.
Mayor, members of council, this is a resolution that recognizes that development on the parcel on the 200 South Aquarium Drive is an important local purpose, and that the city supports economic development on that parcel, and that the city would be willing to give an economic development incentive to the Oklahoma Aquarium Foundation to incentivize the Aquarium Foundation to release or sell or transfer that property for economic development purposes. It establishes the basic requirements that we would like to see in an agreement between the OAF and the developer. It does not go into a lot of detail. I know we attached the agreement, and it's really, we say it's substantially the format. We understand that that will be the OAF's contract and that they may make changes, but that we want to see these basic things such as the 100,000 guaranteed payback per year, and that we want these pre-closing obligations to be met where we get more information and a payment bond and those things. So that's the purpose of this resolution. Something important in the legal requirements for economic development incentives is recognizing that public purpose is being met by the transaction, and the city council is a legislative body, so that's one of the main purposes of this, is for you to recognize that public purpose.
And I think the key, to me, the key page, I know that we gave a lot of information, but the key page to me is 105, which actually has, the resolution begins on 104, which is what we're actually voting on tonight. But on 104, we have all the whereases related to the resolution. And then on page 105, it's that be it further resolved that, and these are the conditions that we would hope to see in an agreement if the OAF were to move forward with an agreement with a developer. We would want to see these protections if we were participating in incentivizing the OAF to release the property. And I think that, there's a lot of legal language in kind of the draft agreement, but the point that I think I want to make is that this is, there's things that may change in the agreement, but this is what these things on page 105, we hope to see out of an agreement. So.
Well, that being said, what's the likelihood that we get what we hope for in the agreement?
I think quite good.
Just knowing the parties that you guys have been in these discussions.
Yeah, I mean, we've been speaking with OAF council regularly, and even today, and communicating with them, and they seem generally amenable to these requirements, and I think there might be, even if there is something that potentially changes after this be it further resolved, that I think that the council has seemed flexible and willing to come back, and if there is something that's a sticking point that needs to be negotiated, I feel confident that that we can make that happen.
Okay.
This is really also saying that it's a showing support for development on that property, and so I think that's really the key here is we support development. We're willing to incentivize the OAF to release the property for development. And here's some things we want to see, but if these things change in the future, so be it. And we'll do what we can to, yeah.
Very well. Any questions, Councilor Lynn?
No.
Mr. Isbell?
If there are significant changes, they will come back to us, correct?
Yeah, this is a non-binding resolution of support.
Okay.
And so an agreement between the OAF and the city would be a separate.
I didn't want to make any assumptions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mrs. OJ?
Yeah, just since we're on record, as far as, people here, and they're listening and they're also watching, but it's the fact that, could you explain why one of the requirements would be a performance bond and what that is? I know what that is.
Right.
Just to be clear.
A performance bond is a bond that is issued by a surety, which is in essence an insurance company. And so by giving us a performance bond, I'm not sure the detail, it would be 150% of their obligation to build the improvement, whatever they're obligated to do. And basically it's giving us and the OAF an insurance policy that they're going to do everything that they've committed to do in their contract, that they build all the improvements, fulfill all the requirements. And if they don't, it gives us an ability to go and take action on that, essentially file a claim on that insurance that would give us payment to complete it ourselves or the OAF.
Okay. That's kind of what I wanted to be clear on, so that all of our citizens understand why we're requiring.
Right, it's there to make sure that what is promised gets done, because we are providing a financial incentive.
Right, and we actually have the option to be made whole by the performance bond itself. Exactly.
And that was a requirement of Village on Main and Waterfront Grill when they went in.
Right.
Councilor Murray? Short.
Say I've been in the conversations many times, and I fully support this.
Mr. Klein? Very well. If there's no other questions or comments, we can entertain a motion on item number 5, which is resolution 7401.
Okay.
We have proper motion and second for item number 5. Let's vote, please.
Kaylin?
Yes.
Isabel?
Yes.
Murray?
Yes.
Klein? Yes. Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes. Other business, page 107, Mr. Strauss, City Manager's report.
Mayor and all members of council, I have some good news on the library property. It has finally made it to the Tulsa City Council agenda for tomorrow, I believe. Or is that today? Tomorrow. Tomorrow's agenda, and they'll be voting on approving the sale to the city of Jenks. So if all goes according to plan and that's approved, because it already went through the Public Works Committee last week and was approved. And I haven't heard anything from the mayor's office that there's any issues with the agreement. Then we could be ready, I think, ready to close within, yeah. So that's good news. We installed a new, I guess it's a wrought iron fence at Veterans Park. We were having just, and I may have touched on this before, but a lot of complaints about the people at the Case office building there, just to the west of Veterans Park, about people parking and leaving their garbage there, going to the skate park, vandalism and other stuff. And we're looking into putting cameras all throughout Veterans Park. It's quite an endeavor. And we thought the easiest thing to do in the short term was to build this fence that, you know, it's not a privacy fence, so you can still see the park and the park, you know, so it keeps things open, but, you know, it's one of those that's difficult to climb. So I've already heard from numerous tenants at the Case building saying, you know, that they're really appreciative that the fence went up. So hopefully that starts to deter some of the vandalism, but we have some other stuff to figure out over in the bathrooms and other areas of the park. We can't just put a fence around the bathrooms. So a reminder, we have our retreat next Tuesday. And then our design engineer is finishing up, that's what we call him, Will Smith. The hydrologist is finishing up his design of reclaiming the floodplain area behind the hotel and aquarium. And I think he said he would have models done, the hydraulic or hydrology models done by the end of this week potentially, and have costs associated with that, even maybe next week or the week after. So I think that's exciting that this thing is, you know, we waited so long on the survey, but now that Bill has the information he needs, it's really moving pretty quickly. So, and then I would just ask if Marseille could give us just a really quick update on the UDO. I know that she's been sending out emails with different chapters of the new zoning code. And I think it's going to be a lot easier if I know it's difficult because I avoid the meetings like the plague about this, but reviewing the chapters of the UDO as she's sending them out or trying to and giving any feedback would be helpful. But
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. The articles 1 through 7 are available at the Horizon Jenks website, and I've sent that link out a couple of times. I have had feedback from counselors. I have met with counselors regarding articles 1 through 7. I will say we're about to receive the actual graphics. So previously we had the charts, the tables, and the text, but no graphics. And we'll be getting those, I believe, by the end of next week. So once that comes out, I'll send it out again because I think it'll make a lot more sense in context when you see the graphic along with it. And that's really dramatically changed from our current zoning code. We don't have those types of graphics. The articles 8 through 11, I have received those. We had a draft version. We had an internal staff meeting. I was not happy with the subdivision regulations and said, start over. So unfortunately, it's not going to go as quickly as I had hoped. But I really would like, I sent out a doodle poll so you can sign up. I created office hours if you want to meet personally with me to discuss articles 1 through 7. Those times are available. If there's another time that you want to meet and it's not on there, absolutely feel free to contact me and I'll get you in. And it's going really quickly in a slow way.
And I think that it would be helpful, like if there's anything that you have, if you've been on council for a while and you've seen something in our code that, you know, bothers you or you wish were different, it'd be a great time to just even setting a meeting to discuss that. I know when you're trying to go through each chapter, it's just really a lot to bite off. So even just kind of touching base on, you know, or even some highlights of some things that have been discussed might be a good way to get the ball rolling, because we're going to have to approve, you know, I don't even know how many pages worth of, yeah, a very dense.
Do you have any notes or summary of each chapter of things that you would like us to pay particular attention to?
I do not. I can try to come up with something, but for the most part, it's just rigorous reading.
Okay. So you're asking us right now to really get knuckled down on 1 through 7. Is that what you
If
need?
you want to wait until I send out the link with the graphics, it'd probably be a little bit easier. So we have about a week or so, and I'll send it out again, and I'll create additional office hours to make myself available, and then we can go through them at that time. And I can take 2 or 3 of you at once, or we can meet individually. I'm available either way.
Okay.
If you have something that you're passionate about, food trucks, specific use permits, marijuana, those are things that we can talk about specifically when we get in there. Like today I met with, and let me just say, we have an outstanding UDO review committee, and I think that we have professionals from the industry, we have attorneys, land use attorneys, we have consultants and developers, local developers, national and regional developers. So we have a great group of people who are already looking at it, and I have relied heavily on their experience, people who they've worked in all the communities in the area. They don't just work, with us. And I have experience in 3 communities, but some of these people that are on the committee have experience with 12 or 15 communities. Some of them have experience with other states. So they have provided a lot of really great input, so that's been good. But at the end of the day, we are going to have to support it and approve it. So I just want you to be comfortable.
Did you put the committee together?
I did.
Okay, nice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mrs. Hilton. Committee reports. Councilor Lynn, anything you'd like to talk about? Anything on your radar you want to share? Okay, Mr. Isbell, did you manage to get to that INCOG dining event? Do you have any INCOG report for us?
No, I was not able to attend.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
I do have a IT update though.
Yeah, absolutely, please. Yeah. We have a short night, so we can spend a couple minutes.
I've got 8 pages. Page 1.
We had a.
Couple of minutes.
You're in a good mood tonight, aren't you?
The city was able to deploy Avanan email filter, which blocks spam and phishing attempts. This software also allowed us to identify a couple of compromised email accounts, and we took care of those. The city took care of those, and I'm reporting that for the city. And it's interesting that a couple of employees asked the question, did we filter out too much? But after review of the filtered emails and phishing attempts, it looks to be 100% accurate. So that's a plus for us, all of us, all 230 email accounts across the city and the Oklahoma Aquarium. So that's a big plus. We recently purchased Civic Plus mass communication solution from municipalities. I don't have a whole lot of details on that, but that provides help with aspects of the IT management in a municipality. They have also taken a closer look and secured all of the domains for the city of Jenks, the Oklahoma Aquarium, as well as Horizon Jenks, excuse me. And it was determined that the Oklahoma Aquarium domain was a few days from going into the open market. It would have been very difficult for us to get it back. So we're quantifying and qualifying all of the city domains and making sure that we own them in for a long time.
Perpetuity.
Perpetuity, that's the word. For a long time, in perpetuity. I talked a little bit today about working to install cameras at Veterans Park. They're also looking at an agreement with Elm Street Market to put cameras on the roof there pointing at the park. Potentially cameras on the PSO light poles, as well as security for potentially new lights, improved lighting in the park, etc. The city has implemented is going to implement a password manager to manage or maintain all employees and city officials' passwords. I think that's important. I did suggest lifespan of passwords, but we're not quite there yet. With respect to the oil pipeline industry, federal guidance has provided us a directive to change all passwords within the next 30 days. And my company is looking at that endeavor. That's a pipeline company with respect to what happened to Colonial. However, we are not a pipeline company. But the security is important, so we're going to continue to investigate that. And I do want to bring up one item, and so I don't have it on this list. We as a group need to discuss a secondary person to handle IT for vacations. I don't know if it's a single position, a net new position, or cross-training of current employees, but we need to have depth of coverage for the security posture of the city. Okay, any questions?
And historically, we've used consultants we've had, we had a consultant who did most of the work for years and years and years, and we've cycled through IT managers, and I think found a really good one. But I agree, finding some redundancy, whether it is, another employee or potentially some sort of other vendor or firm to at least help with basic things when our IT manager is out would be good if we don't have that, but.
I agree. Yeah, outsourcing would be an option, absolutely. But
Familiar with Jackson Technical downtown on 9th in Detroit?
Not personally.
Okay. That's who we use. We outsource everything to them. So JacksonTechnical.com might be something if you want to look into. And for those of you that got an email from me asking you to buy gift cards, can't believe you didn't send them, first of all, but obviously the spam email phishing filters and all that are pretty important. So I would never, I might ask you maybe for a drink or something here or there, but I would never ask you for a gift card. So I appreciate it. If I didn't get back to you, apologies. I had no idea what you're talking about. So apparently my people are using my name and title to request donations, different things. So I apologize for any confusion that may have caused. Not sure how that happened, but we'll get it all figured out.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
what was really interesting about those emails is it was for veterans, and that was the selling on this.
Yeah. You know what though? I read it and I said to myself, other than that, that just doesn't sound like me. But I can see how it may have been a decent hook. So I apologize for those of you that called or texted me and asked me about it. If I apologize if I didn't communicate effectively enough. I just didn't know what the situation was all about. So, but anyway, Vice Mayor Roger, anything you'd like to share on capital projects? You don't have to if you don't want to, but
No, I'm good.
okay, very well. Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Murray.
Had not had a meeting specifically. I did forward an email from the chief to my other committee members on the staffing concerns. Last week I did meet with a couple of firefighters. It's a last minute deal. I didn't want to bother anybody with it, but we just discussed all of the stuff with this, the National Fire Protection Agency 1710 and how the regulations say a minimum, just on a house fire minimum number 17 firefighters minimum. We may have 4 for the whole city. And the other thing that really brought my eyelids up and really is scary, that with even the minimal manning level that we have going, and that's allowing somebody off or sick or injured, that if the 2 are responding from a fire station, one of them's driving, one of them's in the front seat, the driver cannot be, because of the constraints of the driving capacity, cannot be bunkered up with firefighting gear. And once they get on scene, they have to get out, put on their bunker gear, and then be able to respond to what needs to be done. Am I right, Chief? And that really opened my eyes too. That's a couple of minutes, because it takes 3 minutes that a fire can grow 16 times larger. 3 minutes. So really very important. And I looked at a couple of YouTube videos and I will forward those to you guys to take a look at. It doesn't talk about the driver part, not bunkering up or bunkered up. That's just something that probably happens at all stations because the way the trucks are designed, they can't drive and have all their gear on. And normally the driver is the one that gets out and sets up the apparatuses and all the cranks and knobs. And usually the two other firefighters typically have three on a truck at one time to get out and start to do something. And the driver then can start doing all he needs to do. So eye-opening things every time I visit with these guys. And so it's very scary for us to obviously live here or what's going on. And I know they did a great job, but just FYI, I'll get those YouTubes to you guys.
Thank you, Councilman Murray. And I think I speak for all of us that firefighter safety is, I think it's all we care about. So I think our staff is pretty aware. And Mr. Salcedo, I think we had a little conversation about that in the last council meeting, but I think you guys are pretty aware that we'd like to see our staffing grow in a responsible way, as with some haste, but also in a responsible way where we can afford it to grow those. The last thing I would want, and I'm sure you can empathize with the feeling of showing up to a gunfight with not enough guns. And we don't want our guys showing up to a firefight with not enough water and not enough people. So big priority for the council, and we'll see some progress in the next year or so as we move forward. So thank you, Mr. Murray. Mr. Short, anything on your mind? Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Yes.
Communications is Katie Butterfield's pushing out the Just Jenks newsletter. You've seen that. It is heavy on social media and electronic side of things. There are some print options, and she's currently pursuing more print options for that to get it out to our members of society who, again, aren't heavy on social media. But it's pretty intense. It's not just a blurb. It's a good 2 to 3 page newsletter. It has almost all our contact information, emergency numbers, a lot of basic stuff that will probably go out every month. But then it's got special events and things that are very current coming up. So definitely need to get with her on the fireworks display coming up and put that out. I think it comes out about first of the month. The August version just came out a couple days ago. So we'll get our fireworks display in the September version of that for sure. But one more thing that the communications committee is being done, and hopefully we'll start meeting regularly after our summit next Tuesday.
Thank you. And for those of you that don't, there's a online subscription to the National League of Cities. They just released a pretty good article about the dangers of elected leaders jumping on Facebook. You could add Nextdoor to the mix now, but we have a huge liability and responsibility to be careful of what we say online. I would encourage you guys to register for the National League of Cities. Let them know who you are. Give them your email address. Every once in a while, there's some good reading there. But that being said, we all like to share things, but I would encourage you guys, whenever you get the opportunity, if you have people that follow you, always encourage them to go back to the city of Jenks. I don't need followers. I need them to go get the information from the city. So always drive your audience back to the city of Jenks, where we can count on the information consistently being the same. So I would appreciate you guys doing that. All right. One thing I'd like to mention is, as Mr. Strout mentioned, we do have our strategic offsite coming up. You guys have all met Bill. I can tell you the guy, we all took our DISC personality test. He's high D. And I know this group, and I gave him, considering how much money we're paying for his services, and if you guys only knew the kind of companies, I'm talking giant, large companies and government entities that they do this work for, but because of what we paid for it, I've encouraged him to totally be bad cop. What that means is we're not going to get off in the weeds. We're not going to talk about drainage issues or this. It's not going to be a complaint session. It's not about that at all. If it's small beans details, I don't care. This is about creating a high level picture of where do we want to be, where do we want to go, and hopefully at the end, getting outcomes-based resolutions that we can stack hands on. So regardless of who's sitting here or who's sitting over there, the counselors that come in and fill these seats will all basically know what we wanted to be and where we wanted to go. So be aware that he is a very direct guy, and he will look right at you and say, nope, we're not going there, and we're not. And this goes for staff as well. We're gonna stay on pace, and I've encouraged him to do just that. So just be aware of that. Leave your delicate sensibilities at home. And this guy I've seen a YouTube video where he's squashed people that are known throughout the world, and this is his meeting, and he's going to direct it, and that's just going to be the way it is. So I hope you guys, when we're all said and done, that all of you think that we got great value out of this. It'll be a good time too, and it's at 5 Oaks, so our own home away from home, right?
Right by my house.
Yeah, and hey, maybe we should bring some fireworks and shoot them off during lunch break, huh?
We could fish.
Yeah.
I did when we were there.
You can, it's a good point. I don't know. I told him not to give us any breaks at all, but if he does, maybe you can bring a fishing pole and a worm.
You love breaks.
Well, bring a fishing pole and a worm. It's actually a beautiful place if you haven't been out there.
It is. It's very
Yeah,
good.
great. All right, that's it for me. So if there's nothing else, let's entertain them. Yes.
It's not on the agenda, but we have a meeting between now and then. But on the 21st, which is the third Saturday of the month, there will be a Safe Kids car seat check at Fire Station number 2 from 10 to 12. And so just encourage your newbie families that need their car seats checked to be sure to come out and take advantage of that.
I will highly recommend it because I had no idea, being as old as I am and having grandkids, how to put a car seat in the car. And I'll tell you, they are masters at it. And honestly, I couldn't even pick up my grandchild until I actually went there on my own. It wasn't even an event. I said, and they were really good about it. So just saying.
Speaking of events, an email came out from Mrs. Tackmill, Governor Stitt's August 26th. He's doing the State of the State address at the Tulsa Chamber. It's a nice deal. Networking before and a nice lunch. If you haven't been, I would encourage you to go, but you do have to RSVP. So keep that in mind. Other than that,
Oklahoma Aquarium is a sponsor.
Yeah. Well, while we're talking about upcoming events, anything on your mind? What does the raise eyebrows mean? Yes or no? Anything at all we need to be aware of? We have strategic, we got that. We have Governor Stitt's deal. We don't have it.
Governor is signing the
yeah,
aquarium bill tomorrow. So it'll be official that the aquarium will get to keep 4.5% of the retail sales tax. So, that could be about $150,000 annually to use on out-of-state marketing. So it's a big deal. And we're excited that Representative Sims worked on that. We're happy that Representative Fred Jordan worked on it for years, and finally, persistence, we got it passed. So that's it. It'll be an exciting morning tomorrow.
Anybody joining you?
I think we have Driscoll and Kaylin, and we have Ann Money and a couple aquarium staffers, and Keith Montgomery from the JAA.
Very well. Good. Perfect. All right. If there's nothing else, I could
Motion to adjourn.
entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a proper motion and a second for adjournment. Let's vote, please.
Yes.
Isabel? Yes. Murray? Yes. Klein? Yes. Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Mayor Box?
Yes. City Council is adjourned at 7:10 p.m. Next on the list is the Jenks Public Works Authority call to order a regularly scheduled meeting, 7:10 p.m. Let's vote, please.
Caitlin?
I'm sorry, roll call.
Roll call.
Roll call. not-
Yes.
Isabel? Here. Murray? Here. Klein? Present. Short?
Here.
OJ?
Here.
Chair Box?
Here. At least physically here. Okay. Item number 1, consideration and appropriate action relating to a request for approval of consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for item number 1. Let's vote, please.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Isabel? Yes. Murray? Yes. Klein? Yes. Short?
Yes.
OJ?
Yes.
Chair Box?
Yes. Item 2 pulled. Item 3, quick claim deed. Reverting property located at 200 South Aquarium Drive Back to the Oklahoma Aquarium Foundation. This is no, we're on page 35.
Chairperson and trustees, it pertains to the same property that you just passed resolution, that the city council passed on resolution 741 regarding. This is to clean up title to the property from the previous, I'm also having trouble pronouncing words, can't tell. The previous economic development deal with the Sky Arena that fell through. In that agreement, it was set up a little more complicatedly, where the OAF transferred the property to the JPWA and then had the transaction go through the JPWA that had transferred it to the developer. But the agreements have it so that the property would revert to the OAF if the conditions were not met. The conditions were not met, and reverters are not the cleanest things for title to real estate. So to make things simple so that we know exactly when it reverts and the title is safely back with the OAF so that further economic development deals can be done, we need the JPWA to execute a quitclaim deed, which basically just says we give you back any interest we have in this property.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Any questions or comments from Mrs. Nolan on item number 3?
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a proper motion and second for item 3. Let's vote, please.
Dan,
Yes.
Isabel,
Yes.
Murray.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Short.
Yes.
Oshia.
Yes.
Jenks.
Yes. Other business, general manager's report. Anything else, Mr. Shroud?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Carr, if you may, you can please sit where you're at, but could you give us an idea of when you might expect the right-of-way acquisition for 111th, Peoria Elm from 111th to 131st right-of-way acquisition? We have a general idea of when that might be finished. Right-of-way acquisition. Reason I'm asking and why you're thinking is this is becoming the new hot topic everywhere I go. It's when are we gonna, you know, when's it gonna start? When's it gonna start? And I think we probably, if we may, I don't want to throw darts on a calendar, but maybe we need to do something other than,
Well, if I could jump in too.
anything that we could communicate would be helpful.
Yeah, we have a schedule, and I mean, right-of-way acquisition process is negotiating with, numerous landowners. And I think that even Robert and I had a conversation about when do we think, this very same question, when do we think right-of-way acquisition will be complete? I think at the time, the schedule said something like this late fall, early winter, like December. And we sent out offers, and I think we've been working. And the other thing is we can provide an update perhaps at either the next meeting or the meeting after on where we are on all this, but.
Yeah, Chris Floyd is working on putting a meeting together with the right-of-way acquisition agent and our engineer. We just got a very lengthy email from the engineer today about some things that he needs to clear up for the project. But from right-of-way standpoint, there are a couple parcels that are still a little bit of a challenge to get. There's one property owner that won't even communicate with the right-of-way agent any longer. They have no idea why. They were going to go out there and try and talk to them face to face today, I think. I could give you a long answer to a short question, because right-of-way is not exactly a real good science, because you have to deal with people and get offers back and forth. They've got almost all of the initial offers are out there to everybody, but we made a decision a long time ago on all of our projects is that we're not going to give counter offers back to them. If they get an offer and they're not good with it, they give a counter offer back. We're not going to give counter offers back until we get everything all put together, and we can then give all counter offers at the same time. It's just better business that way, not to give one property owner an edge over another property owner. So it's just, and we're right at the stage of making a decision to give counter offers. So I can't answer the question on the timeline though right now. When you got all the engineering put together, and just to remind you all about, when you got the engineering is there to determine where the right-of-way has to go. Then you got the right-of-way agents out there negotiating with the property owners, and there can be some modifications based upon some of the negotiations that you're making. So then the engineering gets finalized, and once all that is done, then we physically have the right-of-way acquired, then we can tell the utility companies, okay, you're clear. What you said you were going to do, you now have room to do it within the right-of-way, or if you got to go outside of the right-of-way. So even once we get the right-of-way, the utilities have to get moved. And there's some utilities, like I believe it's ONG, they can't even hardly put you on the calendar anymore with all the things that they've got going on. It's probably going to be, I'm going to guess it's going to be a year for right-of-way acquisition. And that is maybe even longer than that. And then once you get the right-of-way, all the utilities out of the way, now you can go and advertise the project. So it takes a while. I mean, I know everybody out there thinks, we've had a bond issue. We ought to be ready to go as soon as the bond issue gets passed, but it doesn't happen that way. There's steps that we've got to go through, especially if we haven't done the engineering first. When we've done the bond issue, then we use that money to do engineering. Now you've got all that engineering time that you got to build into the calendar. That's why, and we were just talking about yesterday, that it's good to get the engineering out of the way before we start making other steps if we can. So that's a long answer to a very short question there.
Have there been any scenarios on projects where utility relocation will start to occur without 100% completion on right away? Well, if you, let's say, if you had a half a mile of secure right away, would they start moving utilities and then stop, waiting on that last homeowner?
It depends on who they are and what and how secure they are and what's going to happen. Sometimes they can do it that way. Sometimes they just want to do the whole stretch at one time. It's easier for them.
Yeah.
But there have been some utilities that have relocated already because they were pipeline utilities, and all they had to know was, where is the right of way going to be? Because they want to case their pipe underneath the road from right of way to right of way, and a couple of them have done that already. So it's not that we haven't done anything, but it's just taking. It's really even longer than what I thought it was going to be.
Very well. Any questions for Mr. Carr? Any of these projects? You guys have the engineering projects update. Okay. I'm going to keep going if I may then. I have one more for you. What's the, it says a Stone Bluff, 106th and Elgin. What project is going on at 106th and Elgin?
There's a development up there.
The Chris Key property?
On the south side of the road.
Okay.
And they just haven't come to a conclusion on how to relocate the water line.
That's Chris Key property?
I think so.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, very well. He called it Stone Bluff, and that's what threw me off, and maybe him as well. That's where he lives. Okay, nothing else from Mr. Carr? Anybody else, council? Okay, very well. We can entertain a motion to adjourn.
The chamber report?
Second meeting of the month.
Yeah, that's guess the next time.
Sure, I can go. What do you want?
No, you didn't want to talk, so motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we have a proper motion and second to adjourn. Let's vote.
Caitlin?
Yes.
Isabel? Yes. Murray?
Yes.
Klein?